So today I just wanted to talk to you all about my route to engineering, or how I became an engineer. So it all starts with when I was a young boy really, and as far as I can remember, what I wanted to do when I was a child was to be an astronaut. And it was a bit far-fetched, and not many people in the UK had this kind of dream, because it was seen to be mainly something that you could only do if you were American. But at that point, that's what I wanted to do. And so that kind of initially got me interested in space and flight, and eventually engineering. But I knew that in order to follow those kinds of aspirations, I needed to be good at maths and physics mainly. And so that's kind of what I focused on, and that's what I became better at. And eventually, those were my subjects. So I think growing up, I had that kind of aspiration in the back of my mind. So obviously, like going through school, primary school, secondary school, it was pretty much the same as everyone else really. Because you do kind of the same set of subjects, and you are kind of just coasting along really. But when it came to choosing my first set of options at secondary school, I remember choosing French, drama, business, and economics. None of those really scream engineer or even astronaut. But I think at that time it was those were the subjects that I enjoyed, and those were the subjects that I found most interesting. And I knew that GCSEs really didn't impact me in what options I could do at A-level, especially not those ones. Obviously maths and science would have impacted me, but as far as I knew, I don't think my drama grades would be taken into account at college. So I just picked those courses that I found the most interesting and enjoyable, and something that I knew that if I enjoyed, I would probably get good grades in them. So that was like secondary school. The next step was college. So I studied in Leicester, and so the school I went to was a sixth form college or sixth form school, but I didn't stay on at the sixth form. So I moved from the City of Leicester School to QE, as we call it, but full name is Wigston and Queen Elizabeth I College, which is not actually as posh as it sounds. But yeah, so I spent 2 years there, and subjects I did at QE were maths, further maths, physics, and chemistry. Now they definitely are what you would probably want to do if you want to study engineering at university. So that was the big jump, going from secondary school to college, from GCSEs to A-levels. That is where I decided to pick the courses that would eventually allow me to study engineering as a degree. And it's hugely important that you know which subjects to pick. I will probably talk more about this in another video, because I don't want to focus too much on that now, because I just want to talk about my route really in this video. So I did those subjects at college, and thankfully I did well in those subjects, and well enough to make applications to some of the best universities in the UK. And obviously again, I will talk about university applications in another video, so not something I want to focus on right now. So I ended up applying to Cambridge, Imperial, Bristol, Loughborough and Southampton, I believe. So first things first, awkward situation out of the way. I didn't even get an offer for Cambridge, so I got an interview, but it was terrible. So again, not something to talk about in this video, but undoubtedly I will make a video about my Cambridge rejection in the future, to talk about overcoming failure and that kind of thing that will get your spirits up. But yeah, so I didn't get an offer from Cambridge, which was going to be my first choice. But then that left me with the other 4 options I already mentioned. And so I ended up picking Imperial as my first choice, and Bristol as my second choice. And again, the application process, another video. So I eventually ended up going to Imperial to study aeronautical engineering, and that is where I began to focus in on the type of engineering I wanted to do, and knowing that in the back of my mind, I still wanted to be an astronaut. As unrealistic as it sounds, I know, but hey, if you don't try, then that is one way that you're 100% guaranteed to not achieve what you want to achieve. So I thought at least I can, be in the right place maybe, and maybe when applications open in the future, I can make an application that's not too hopeless. So went to Imperial College in London, studied aeronautical engineering for 4 years, so ended up specialising in composite materials, and specifically deployable composite materials for space applications, and I will explain a bit more about that in another video as well. I'm saying that a lot. All these things in another video. You have a lot to look forward to. What can I say about my route? So, spent 4 years doing engineering at Imperial. During that time, I worked on different topics in engineering, focusing on aerospace, more or less, but developing things, doing practical activities, taking different option courses, and that led me to eventually specialise in materials engineering and composite materials in particular. And that is basically what I do here in my lab at the University of Oxford. So I study the impact behaviour of soft materials using experiments that you probably can see behind me, involving things like the gas gun, and just trying to understand what basically happens to the material when you hit it at various speeds, because that's interesting to engineers and interesting to me as well, because it allows me to do fun experiments. So that's basically my route in engineering so far. So I'm approaching the end of my PhD here at the University of Oxford, or DPhil as we like to call it. So the next steps I will cover in another video.